objectives of testing. Looks like they removed the limit. That's good. So let's see what our role as a tester, right, in this process. So what are our goals of testing, right? So goals and objectives of testing are many. So we want like help developers build a defectless and error-free software and application that has exceptional performance, quality, and effectiveness, security, and among other things. Right, so like the testing goals is not only like a defectless software, right? So we need to check performance, so we need to check quality, we need to check how effectiveness in the sense how it is easy to use for users, right? Sometimes the functionality is working, but it may not be easy to use for users. So effectiveness is also important. And security, right? Security is also a very critical part of testing. So these are various goals of testing, right? So when you say testing, so we want to make sure all these things are covered. That's why we have like manual testers, performance testers, automation, security. So it's like a huge field, testing itself, right? Because we need to cover all these parameters as part of testing, right? So that is the main objectives of testing. And so even testing objectives, so there is like, these are all like various terminology that is used in testing, right? Verification, validation, like suppose if you go and attend some interview, they probably tell you like what is the difference between verification and validation, right? So these are various concepts in testing. So this is just, I'm just giving a like idea. So verification is basically say to confirm that software meets various business and technical requirements. So we saw like requirements written by business analyst. So verification means so the software works as per the business requirements. Like say suppose we are doing a banking application. If somebody deposits money, so the money should be credited to the particular account. Right? That is one requirement. So verification, what we do, like when somebody deposits, when somebody enters a deposit, it will get credited to the account. That is a verification part. Right, just we are making sure that it works as per the requirement. That is the verification. And validation is software performs as expected and as per the requirement of the clients, right? So validation involves checking, comparing the final output with the expected output, right? Suppose if say a particular account has say 100 rupees, so we are adding another 50 rupees, right? So the actual output should be 150 rupees, right? So that's the validation part, right? We are putting some data and verifying that the actual output is what is expected, right? So that is a validation, right? So verification is basically you are adding the functionality. So when somebody deposits, it should go to that account. So validation is checking actual data and verifying that output. So this is difference between verification and validation, right? So I will also share this PPT so you can view this differences. Then defects. Defects is basically the issues in the system. When we test, right, we find defects. So we're going to log the defects into the system. So if defects are not fixed, right, it will harm the functionality of the software. So it can lead to loss of resources, money, and reputation of the client. So basically, like say when you leave defects in the system, so it's not only cost money, and it will cost resources, and it will also cost reputation of the client, right? So if you deliver a bad product, the reputation is also of the client also will be goes bad, and it will be expensive as well. And so these things are important, right? So that's why software testing is executed regularly at every stage of the software development, right? So when there is an iterative cycle, in each stage, the testing will happen, right, to minimize the number of defects, right? So we'll go much deeper in the later sessions. But testing is like a continuous process, just like development. Parallelly, testing will happen, right, as part of the development. So basically, the defects can be tracked to either specifications. Specification is basically requirement, business requirement. Sometimes business analyst may forget some requirement, so that will become a defect in the system, right? There may be issues in the design, there may be issues in the development process or programming phases, right? So a defect can be from anywhere, like missing requirement or defect in the design, defect in the development, or defect in the programming phase, right? It's so even the application is working correctly as per the requirement, there may be missing requirements also, right? That can be a defect as well, right? That is one. Then providing information, right? So once we test, we're going to generate a lot of reports, like say how much functionality is working, how much functionality is not working, whether there are any critical failures in the system and all that. So we're going to generate a lot of test reports, right? We're going to provide that to the either project managers or development team, so that they understand how much is the system working and how much system has the problems. So basically, providing information is also one part of testing objective, right? Giving actual, it's called test metrics or testing reports, right? That is one of the objective of testing, right? So basically, verification, validation, defects, providing information, right? Then preventing defects, right? So one way to reduce the cost is preventing defects. Suppose if you are testing something, if you are testing one part of the module and you see that there is some other issues in the other module as well, then you're going to raise them early in the process, right? Even though you are not testing that module, you're going to raise the defects so that they can fix them early, right? Defects. So identify defects and prevent them from occurring again in the future, right? So maybe once particular issues are fixed, we don't want that defect repeated again, right? So we're going to do like a repeat testing. So it's kind of a regression testing that is required. So that is a preventing defects. That is one of the objectives as well, right? Because it's a iterative process. Each time there is a new build, so we don't want old issues to come up, right? That's why we need to do preventive defects, prevention, right? Defect prevention, right? Then quality analysis, right? So each time there is a software developed, so we're going to do like quality analysis. What is the quality of the software and what are the ways to improve it, right? So additionally, various type of testing techniques are used by testers, which help them achieve desired software quality, right? There will be some standards that we need to achieve for each software. So that standards will be defined here, right? So these are various, so whenever you're testing, you're going to keep in mind all these objectives as part of the testing, right? Then there is a compatibility. Suppose you are developing a product, so you want that application should work in Windows, Mac, Unix, or like mobile applications and all that. So we need to test that for optimum user experience. So is it easy to use for the users to use the application, right? Suppose if you are doing like a web application, if somebody wants to use it on mobile, is it works on the mobile as well or not, right? And also performance testing, load testing and all that. So verifying performance and functionality. right? So these are various types of testing objectives. Okay. So does it make sense? So I'm going too fast. Let me unmute you guys. So we talked about testing objectives, and there is testing principles, right? Testing principles is like these are different techniques we're going to use as part of testing team to make the testing process more effective, right? So these are various testing techniques that we're going to use like that. So these are like testing principles. So testing objectives is like what is our main objective as part of testing. The testing principles is what are the things, what are the techniques we're going to use to find testing more effective, like find more defects, where the defects are hiding, and what are the techniques we're going to use, right? So like our goal is basically to show presence of defects in the system. That is the main goal of the testing. And see, there is one, you cannot do like unlimited testing on the system, right? So if you want to test like say bigger systems, so if you want to do full testing, so it may take months, like months and all. So we don't have like that much flexibility to test, right? So there will be, we have to define like what is important and all that. So that exhaustive testing is not possible. Like testing everything is not possible. So we're going to test like important features and all that as part of testing. Then early testing. So I'll go into deeper into this defect clustering, right? Pesticide paradox, right? Testing is context dependent. So context dependent in the sense, it depends on like what type of application is that, right? Something like banking, its testing is different. Something like a simple company website, we test differently. So it's dependent on context. Then options of error fallacy, right? So I will explain these one by one, right? So testing shows presence of defects. So our goal is to show where the errors or where the defects exist in the system, right? So the objective is to find more and more hidden defects using different techniques, right? So we're going to undiscover defects, and if there is no defects found, then software is defect free, right? Even though like there is no defects found during the testing process, so we cannot guarantee that software is defect free, because as I told you before, there may be some misses in the requirement or something missed in the design phase or things like that. So we'll find most of the defects, but we cannot say like it is 100% defect free. There may be new issues that users may come across, right? Any defect during which didn't occur during testing, right? So we'll follow some techniques, but we cannot say like once testing is done, that software is 100% defect free, right? So it will only show the presence of defects. We'll identify whatever we can in the testing process, and we'll highlight those defects, right? So it may not, it is not like 100% defect free after testing is done. So you should understand that part. Then exhaustive testing is not possible. So that's what I told, because exhaustive testing will take unlimited efforts. And see, after some time, so whatever you spend on the testing, it will not be effective. Effective in the sense the time you spend and type of defects you found will not be very much useful. So there will be some priorities defined as part of testing. So so there will be some limitations, right? We're going to skip some part of testing, right? So say this example, right? So if there is an input field which accepts alphabets, special characters, and numbers from 0 to 1000. So if you want to test all the different combinations, it's not possible, right? So you cannot test like you have to test alphabets without alphabets, with and without special characters. So numbers from 0 to 1000, right? You cannot test each number, right? So there will be some, you cannot possibly test all combinations. So there is some techniques like what combinations we need to test as part of this, and we'll test only those combinations. So, the exhaustive testing will not be possible, right? We're going to test like most likely scenarios and give the results, right? So that is the one limitation. Then early testing in the sense when people are writing the requirements, we're going to start doing testing. So when they're doing development, we'll start doing testing like in parallel. So that way, so any issues that are found are fixed immediately. So they can be fixed immediately. And when they fix early, the cost will be less, right? Amount of time spent on fixing the issues will be less. Right? When developer is doing some development, so if you find issues during development, that can be fixed easily. But when it goes to users, when they want to fix that error, it will become costly because it involves like project manager, then developer, then again test it, then release it, the release develop like infrastructure team. So different teams will be involved when it goes to the user. Then fixing that issue will be more complicated and it will be more expensive. So finding, so our goal is to find defects early in the process, right? That is one principle. And this is a defect clustering. A defect clustering in the sense, if you have like 10 modules in a project, right? So sometimes there will be only 2 modules which are like a lot of complex functionality. The remaining 8 modules maybe are easy or simple functionality. So most of the time, you find that defects are mostly in those 2 modules, right? So that is a defect clustering. So when like a lot of defects are coming in a couple of modules, we want to increase the testing for those 2 modules, and we'll focus more on those 2 modules because the more defects are coming from those 2 modules, and the remaining we'll test it, but not so much deeper for those modules. This is kind of a Pareto principle of software testing, right? Where you detect 80% of the problems in 20% of the modules, right? So when you develop some product, most of the issues come from a particular area or a particular functionality or a module. So we're going to test more on those modules. That is called defect clustering, right? Most of the
I'm not able to hear properly.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, just maybe refresh your screen. Can you hear me now?
Sorry for disturbing. I'm not able to hear properly, sir.
Okay, maybe just reconnect. Okay, you can hear me now? Right, okay. So anyway, I will share this recording as well. So this is a defect clustering. Then there is another technique called pesticide paradox, right? So basically, so what it means is, so if you execute same set of test cases again and again over a period of time, then you cannot identify new defects. Like suppose you have like you defined test cases, so you execute the same test cases again and again, you're not going to find new defects. So you're going to review and update your test cases regularly, right? So when there is a new set of test cases, the more defects will come out, right? So we'll be able to find more defects from the system. So we're going to review like test cases, then we can add new test cases. We can delete existing test cases which are old, or like which are no longer needed, right? That way, you want to find the real defects from the system, right? So that means you need to update your test cases regularly based on the functionality and all that, right? And said like testing is context dependent, right? So based on, so each different applications have like different requirements, different testing purpose, different risk and techniques. So we have to do the testing based on the context or domain, right? So basically testing a banking application is different than testing an e-commerce application or advertisement application, right? So the risk associated with each of these applications is different, right? So you're going to test it differently for those applications. Like something like Paytm is a payment application. So if Paytm doesn't work, it's a high risk application, right? So you need to test differently. But if we have like a website, company website, even if it is down, it doesn't affect that much. The risk is less. But if something like Paytm application is down, it will be like there will be the risk is high. Risk is high, right? People may not trust that application later on, right? So the testing also depends on the context. Then the last one is absence of error fallacy. So if the software is tested fully and no defects are found before release, then you can consider that it is 99% defect free, right? So we can say like we tested and it's 99% defect free, but it's not, if there is some wrong requirement, right? So you may not find them, right? So you are testing based on the requirements. So if the requirement itself is wrong, so you cannot find the defect in the system, right? So, but users may not be able to use the system because it is developed based on the wrong requirements, right? Then you cannot find those kind of issues in our testing, right? So that's why we assume that requirements are correct as part of testing when we say like it is defect free, right? If somebody requirements are wrong, then we cannot verify that part, right? So basically here, for example, so you are testing an application related to e-commerce, right? So the requirements say shopping cart or shopping basket is wrongly interpreted and tested. Like there is some requirement, they didn't write it properly, and we test it as per the requirement, but the actual requirements itself is wrong. Then those kind of defects we cannot find it, right? So only the users will know like it is not working as we needed. We need to change the requirement part, right? So that is absence of error fallacy. Like this, basically what we are seeing here is where the errors coming from, right? When even if you test 100%, there will be errors coming from requirements, right? The testing is also dependent on context, right? So we need to update our test cases regularly, right, to test it properly, right? And some modules have more defects than other modules. So these are various principles we need to keep in mind, right? Suppose you are testing some application, so you are seeing more issues from one module, so you're going to test more of that module. You're going to add more scenarios for that module and test it more thoroughly, like that, right? So you're going to adapt based on the application. And we cannot test like exhaustive, we cannot test all combinations, right? So these things, so these are various testing principles, right? Early testing, defect clustering, context dependent, absence of error fallacy, right? So what basically we are doing is we are showing the defects present in the system. So these are various testing principles, right? So this is more like various concepts we need to understand. So basically we talked about testing principles and testing objectives like verification, validation. So what is our objectives in testing, right? And the product life cycle, software development cycle. So tomorrow we'll go into more into how the software is designed and how the architecture and all that, various models, software development life cycles and all. So yeah, that's for today's session. So